We're very lucky here on the channel that we get to check out a lot of really cool stuff and go to a lot of really cool places. And what I usually do around about this time every year is take a look back at what I've done in the last year and reflect on all of the great places that we've gone to visit. And what we're going to be doing this week is taking a look at a really cool place that we went to check out last year and a really cool trip that we went on up to Rockhampton. We went and checked out a place called Capricorn Caves and also checked out some really cool places along the way as well. So let's go take a look at it. One of the things I really love about travelling in this country is that there's always little things to stop in and check out in little country towns. On our way through this morning, we stopped in here to Mulgildy and checked out the big bunyip statue that's here. And there's a little plaque and a little bit of information about the legend and folklore of the bunyip in the area here as well, which is pretty cool. And it's always great to stop in and see these things along the way. It really makes stopping in little places just to stretch your legs, something that's actually really quite enjoyable. Alright, well, here we are at the silos at Monto. These things are huge. They've got to be like 15, 20 metres tall, something like that, probably 20 metres. Would have taken a hell of a lot of time to do. Let's take a look. Alright, so now that we've made it out to Cania Gorge with plenty of daylight to spare, we decided to take a little bit of a look around the area. For those of you who are regular viewers to the channel, you'd know that I don't like to prepare too much when I'm going to places. So what we did at the very last moment is checked out a couple of little historic monuments and other things to do in the area. And I didn't realise that there was actually a lake at the end of Cania Gorge, so we decided we'll go and check that out as well. The first of our stops here at Cania Gorge is going to be at the site of Clark and Ivy Bartlett's house. Clark Bartlett was a miner who moved here in 1926, and it was really interesting finding out how Clark Bartlett was actually instrumental in setting up a lot of the walks around the area here and finding out a bit about the family history. Another one of the stops that we're also going to be making along the way is at Shamrock mine. It's a pretty short 1.4 kilometre walk up to the mine. So even though the walk here wasn't really that interesting, it was pretty good to get a bit of a look at what the forest and the surrounding area here actually looks like. Alright, well that's going to be it for us for this week. Next time we catch up, we're going to go and take a look at the dam here at Cania Gorge. Then we're actually going to head on down, check into our accommodation and get set up there, and then take a look at a couple of the walks that are available around and right near the accommodation, which are quite handy. And then we're going to go and take a look at the two-storey cave walk, which is also a very short walk that's available from the day use area here as well. So there's quite a lot in store for next week, and we'll see you then. So as with all my journeys around the place, I try and keep few things as a bit of a surprise if I can. And I have to say, at the end of Cania Gorge here, Cania Lake is actually a little bit of a surprise. There's a massive precinct here with huge park areas right next to the lake, which is fantastic. Tons of covered areas, so I think you could get some good use out of it if you're up here. It's a really beautiful park that's here, and some great picnic areas that are here as well. Old concrete tables. And there's about probably half a dozen covered areas as well for picnics and barbecues, which have each got 3 separate tables in them. And there's a boat ramp here as well. And I saw some signs on the way up that they actually have a yearly fishing tournament as well. So I think quite a lot goes on up here for the locals, and they get some good use out of it, which is fantastic. You've also got a lot of trees around, which is fantastic. There's a little road that goes up onto the top of the hill here, and it's a great view of the lake wall and also the gorge as well, And it's been a good little find here to come and check out this lake. I didn't even know it was here. And as I mentioned before, and as I mentioned on my Uluru trip last year, that's the way I like to do things on my journeys. I like to just sort of know a little bit about what I'm going to do and then just find out what happens when I get there mostly, which, you know, it makes it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more exciting.
All right, so now that we've taken a bit of a look around the lake here, I think it's time for us to head on back and get some accommodation organised for the evening. So I think what the plan will be is to head on back to a place that we passed along the way in here called Cania Gorge Tourist Retreat. So I think we'll head on back there now. So now that we've arrived at the tourist retreat here, I can see that it was definitely a good choice for a place to come to. It's a beautiful little site with a ton of trees and it's in very natural surroundings. So it's a fantastic little place to head off to, and it's got a couple of little bonuses that we'll take a look at later on. I've also noticed while we were here and taking a look at what walks are available in the area that there's a pretty short little walk right near the site here. So we're going to go and take a look at that as well. So what we've done after we got set up at camp was quickly headed to the Bigfoot Walk to take a look at the area there. And it's only 50 metres from the campsite, so it's pretty easy to get there.
The rocky outcrops here at Bigfoot are really, really cool. And just next to Bigfoot here, you've got these caves as well, which are really, really cool. And they go back about 5 metres, as you'll see from your pictures here. It's a pretty cool little area, and it's great that it's actually this close to the van park as well. It's literally 50 metres away, so pretty handy.
One of the points of interest we noticed at the entry to the Bigfoot Walk here was that there is signage that directs you to all of the other walks that are within the area. We did, however, notice that the other walks start from a day use area that we'd spotted just up the road. So what we're going to do now is head on up to the walk for King Orchid Crevice and Two-Storey Cave and check those out up there.
The gorge picnic area here is pretty cool actually. It's right up against one of the walls of the gorge, so you can see all the red and brown of the rock sticking out. Makes for a nice little view. Great setup here. You can basically cook your barbecue and look at the walls of the gorge as you're cooking, which is pretty awesome. Be a great place to come and hang out for the day.
All right, well, that's enough from me. Let's get on the trail up to the Two-Storey Cave circuit.
As you would have seen from the signage just across the road, the trails that are here actually aren't that long. Most of them are about 1 or 2 kilometres long, but there are some shorter ones that are available if you can't walk that far. This trail here is a 1.2 kilometre loop, I believe, something like that. And there's a couple of other trails that are very similar, sort of 900 metres out to one of the trails on the other side. So there's plenty of options for shorter walks if you can't do longer ones. Wow, I'll tell you what, the faces of the gorge are just incredible. It's almost scary at times being under these rock formations because they're just overhanging so far. I feel like they're going to collapse on you or something. Amazing.
The walk itself up here to Two-Storey Cave is not too bad. As you would have seen, there's a few little stairs along the way, but it's only fairly short, so it's not too bad to get up here. The first story of Two-Storey Cave goes back around about 10 metres, and then you can actually see a little hole at the back, and it's not too hard to climb up, and you can get onto the second level quite easily from there. And as you can see, you've got a really great view out into the gorge and the surrounding area here, and it's a pretty cool little thing to check out. Alright, we're going to go and head along the rest of the path now, and as you'll see, there's plenty more things to check out just on this walk itself as well. I have to say, it's a fascinating walk along the entire Two-Storey Cave circuit here. It's really cool checking out the sides of the gorge, and all of the colours that exist in the rock that's here is just amazing. There's another little surprise that we actually came across right here at the sign for King Orchid Crevice, just before King Orchid Crevice actually starts. My partner actually noticed a little rock stairway right next to the sign here, and we decided to go and check that out. And little did I know that there was actually a really great section that was up here, and I completely missed this last time I came here, so it was really great to come and check that out. And as you can see, there's some great views from in between the rocks here, and you can see where huge big sections of the rock formation have actually split from the hill. So it's fascinating to check that out as well. King Orchid Crevice is actually a cool little section as well. It's fun sort of walking underneath that crevice and taking a look at that as well. And the whole walk itself is actually really quite interesting, and really definitely glad we came and checked it out. Alright, well, it's time to make our way back down to the bottom now, and we're going to head on back to our accommodation for the afternoon and make some plans for what is in store for the rest of the journey. Alright, and now that we're back at our accommodation at Cania Gorge Tourist Retreat here, it's time for the little surprise that I was speaking about earlier on. One of the great things they actually have in store here for you is a bird feeding, which happens every day. And it's really cool. They just provide you with some bird food, and you can just hang out with a whole host of different native Australian birds, and it was great to actually do that as well. Alright, well, that's going to wrap things up for us this week. Next time we catch up, we're going to be on our way up to Rockhampton and checking out Capricorn Caves. See you then. I've got to say, having never been to Rockhampton before and finally getting to check it out now, I really like the place. As you'll see here, we've only got a few photos, but I really like the place. The botanical gardens here that we checked out this morning, and there's a heap of beautiful churches in Rockhampton as well. Some great old buildings, really well looked after place, and a place that I really enjoyed, and I think I'd definitely like to go and visit in the future. Alright, well, that's going to wrap up a beautiful morning for us here in Rockhampton City. We've had a great time here. Checked out the park right here on the beautiful Fitzroy River, which was just fantastic. And we also headed off and had a nice early lunch at the Criterion Hotel, which had some fantastic food. Alright, well, I think it's time we head on up to the caves now, and we've got to make our way up to our accommodation now that it's ready. And we're going to take a bit of a look at the accommodation later on as well, just so you've got an idea of what the accommodation looks like there, both in the cabin that we're staying and also in the camping area that's available on site at Capricorn Caves. But right now we're going to go and take a look at the caves themselves. Let's go take a look. There's a pretty big space around the office here, and if you were interested, there's a large space for large groups as well. So if you wanted to, for some reason, come up and host an event here, you can do so. There's a pretty extensive gift shop here as well that had just been updated when we actually came in. So there's a ton of things you can take a look at to buy there as well, which is pretty cool. Alright, so now that we've had a bit of a look around the gift shop, we're going to go and take a look at the caves. Let's go check them out. Just a quick note here, actually, you'll have to excuse the shaky camera throughout this entire series, and especially in the caves here. What I've tried to do is take my video camera in and film with it, as well as my partner filming with the GoPro. But unfortunately, due to the fact that the cave walks are only really short, I wasn't able to take a tripod in with me. So some of the footage is a little bit shaky, so apologies for that. One of the great things about this walk is that what you do is go in and pay for the walk itself, and then you're met out the front by someone who will direct you through on the walk. And what they do throughout the entire walk is tell you about the caves themselves, how they were formed, how long they've been here for, about some of the plants and animals in the area as well, and also about some of the formations that are in the caves as well. They give you a little bit of a run through on what stalactites and stalagmites are. So it's overall very informative and quite a welcome addition to the walk itself. We've just come now to a section in the walk where there's a really wide opening, and we're getting a little bit of an explanation as to how all of the different sections within this part here actually formed. It's really great actually that I brought the drone with me, because when I got a bird's eye view of the exterior here, it really gave me a better understanding of how all of the formations actually look, and I could better understand what was going on when we were looking at it from down below. Alright, well that's enough for me for a minute. Let's get into the rest of the walk and have a look at the cathedral. Unfortunately, the footage we got from the caves just does not do them justice at all. The tour through the caves here was worth every cent, and definitely something that we really enjoyed. And a definite highlight for me was checking out the cathedral, which was the entire reason that we wanted to actually come up here and check this place out. There are other tours that are available, and a whole host of different tours that are available. You can actually get your hands dirty and climb through some lower sections of the caves and come out at the top. So there's plenty on offer in terms of different tours that you can do through the place, but it was definitely really cool to come and check this section of the caves out. The tour itself actually goes through a whole host of different sections in the cave. You end up in the cathedral, but also in a host of other sections, including an open part of the cave that we took a look at with the drone earlier on. It's been really cool to check out all the different parts of the cave here, but it's time for us now to wrap up our tour and head on back to our accommodation and get some rest for the afternoon and make some plans for what we're going to do over the next few days. The accommodation here was definitely worthwhile as well. We decided at the last minute that we were actually going to book a cabin for our accommodation for the night rather than staying in the rooftop tent. However, as you can see here, the shared facilities for camping on site are actually really well featured, and there's plenty on offer here for you if you wanted to check into those. The shared facilities and bathrooms on site here are not too bad. They're a little bit old, but they're quite clean and quite well organised. So we're going to take a look at the cabins now and see what they've got on offer for us. And as you can see from the interior of the cabins here, they are definitely worth your while to check out. They're really well set out and really well featured, as you can see. One of the other really good things about the cabins themselves as well is that they are a fair distance from each other as well. So you can't actually hear any of the other people in other cabins that are close by, because they're around about 10 to 20 metres away. So that made for a really quiet stay and something that we were really after by this stage of our journey. Alright, well that's going to wrap things up for us today. We're going to head on into Rockhampton in the morning again and check out a few things along the way there, and then make our way down south. We're probably going to check into a bed and breakfast at a place called Amamur, which is on the way to Kenilworth. And then I think what we might do is take a bit of a look around the area in Kenilworth and check out some of the creeks in Imble State Forest and take a bit of a look through there as well. We may even spend a night in the forest down there also. Alright, well once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time we get 4 wheels on the road.